Wardrobe for the Bass True Anglers podcast is brought to you by Basco Fishing. High-performance fishing apparel that can be customized to fit your needs. Do you need to showcase your brand? Does your business need apparel? Do you need a tournament jersey? Visit their website at www.bascofishing.com. Well, get those live vests zipped in clips, strap down those rods, and stow away those tackle bags because we are going fishing. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Bass True Anglers podcast. I'm your host, Keith Nicewonger, and I hope this episode finds you with 5 for 25 in your live well. But they better not be 5 13-inch fish, because if they are, we're going to cut those stomachs open and we're going to find those lead weights. Special thanks to our partners who make this podcast possible. Basco Fishing is the official wardrobe sponsor of the Bass True Anglers podcast. Today, I am wearing the Spongy Splatter SPF 30 hooded sun shirt. Be sure to check out all the colors and all the styles. Go to their website at bascofishing.com. By now, you know we are the Western representatives for Duckett Fishing, pro-driven rods, reels, and baits. Duckett is building a Western presence, and if you haven't seen it yet, you soon will. New independent dealerships are popping up all the time. If you live in the West and know of a tackle shop, a kayak store, a boat dealership, tattoo parlor, gas station, sporting goods store, donut shop, barber shop, dentist office, beauty shop, or any other place that we should have our products, send us a DM and we will follow up on that. Find out about the Duckett lineup of pro-driven products by going to their website, duckettfishing.com. Today we have with us BASS Open Pro Tristan McCormick, fresh off his big win at Lake Hartwell. He's going to give us a lowdown on the Bassmaster Classic invite clinching win. But first, if you like the content we produce on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. Like this video. Comment if you're not afraid. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button right now. I'll wait for you. Thank you. We are building our viewership, and your follow means a lot to us. Our guest tonight is fresh off a big win at the BASS Open on Lake Hartwell. He won the 2021 Bassmaster College Classic bracket and fished the 2022 Bassmaster Classic. With his Hartwell win comes an invite to the 2023 Bassmaster Classic. He also moves into the lead of the Bass 2 Anglers Podcast Angler of the Year race, and he is clearly one of the top stories in the tournament world today. Tristan McCormick, welcome to the Bass 2 Anglers Podcast. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Absolutely, man. It's a pleasure to be on here. A lot of great things has happened over this past year for me, my success, and I'm lost for words. I'm blown away. Man, all I can say is God is good, man. It's been an amazing year so far.
So take us to the last 24 hours. What has that been like? I know at least one fanboy has been chasing you down all day.
Man, it's been crazy. You know, going into the final day, I was 3 pounds back, and on Hartwell, that's a lot of pounds to make up.
Absolutely.
Especially it was fishing a little tough. The weights were not really that great, but it was just being consistent. And going into it, I was like, I'm going to fish mainly spots because I feel like I can compete 3 days with spots. I feel like I can catch enough to compete if I make it to the third day. So knowing that, looking back, I'm glad I didn't go fish largemouth. I never went, even tried it, never went to pocket, never got shallower than, 15 foot. So, going into final day, 3 pounds back, and I fished all day, fished my guts out, left it all out there. And, I thought I had no chance with 14 pounds. I really did. I thought I had no chance. Like in my head that morning, I was like, I need to catch 17, 18 to at least have a chance because he's not going to slip up. He's a local hammer. He wins everything there every single weekend. But man, it ended up being enough, and I'm blown away. I really don't truly believe it yet because I'm young, and this is the last thing I expected for sure.
Yeah. You're clearly very humble. It's refreshing to hear that. Tell us a little bit about practice. Well, first of all, what's your experience with Hartwell? Have you been there before?
Yeah, I've been there. In college, we win at least once or twice every year. So I've been there, 6, 7, 8 times. In the Classic this year as well in March. I've learned so much about the lake every time I've been there. Different areas, whether it's up the Tugaloo, the Seneca, down by the dam. There's every area of fish is different. And for me, going into practice, I had 2 days of practice, or 2.5 days really. I didn't go the second day. I just went 2 days. But me and John Garrett filmed a Strike King and Lose Pro Team Journal there 2 weeks before official practice. So we went out and we both, we caught a lot of fish in that film, and it was really good. We kind of figured something out, and that's what we ended up running with, both of us leading into the final day in the top 10. So, looking back on that Pro Team Journal before everybody got there, we learned a lot about the fish, what they were doing, where they think or where we thought they were going to be going, and it's exactly what happened.
So in practice, you went and kind of checked what you found during the pre-practice, and it was still there.
Well, in pre-practice, I kind of changed. I had a couple different areas going, and really, on Hartwell, every day you practice, it was good. You caught them every day. It's not necessarily like, oh, I caught them on this 2 or 3 spots, but the final day, that's what it ended up being for me, because that's what my first day at the 16-pound bag, the biggest bag I had all week. That's where it come from, with those four shoals. And that's why in my head, I was like, I've seen the whole lake from dam to past Green Pond up the river. I've seen everything. And I feel like for me, the biggest fish that I'm trying to catch live right there by the dam on those 4 shoals.
Wow. That's pretty neat. So take us through the days. I'm hearing that you didn't think you had a chance to win, but I'm wondering if during the course of that week, was there a moment when you thought, wow, I might be able to do this? Or did that come at the weigh-in?
Well, after the first day, I caught 16 pounds, and
Yeah.
I caught 16 pounds by, I think, 10 o'clock that first day. And I was like, I might have a chance if I can just survive, because I thought the second day was going to be way better than the first day, because on the forecast it projected the wind to blow 12 to 15. And when we was catching those fish grouped up into big schools, like we were in practice when they were feeding like sharks, the wind was blowing, it was cloudy, it was perfect conditions. And Tuesday, or not Tuesday, Friday, it ended up being slick, just like the first day. So, my weight fell down a little bit. I was still able to catch. I caught a ton of fish from, I went down and fished my primary area till 11 o'clock, and I went and ran new water the rest of the day. And stuff I've never fished, stuff I've never seen, and I caught them everywhere I went, and it was amazing, really. And I didn't think I'd have enough the second day to get into the final day, but looking back at the weights, I mean, I moved up to second from sixth to second, and I was like, holy crap, it must have been tough on everybody today. So, going into the final day, like I said, 3 pounds back, I was like, I've got to catch my biggest bag I've caught all week to have a chance. And, it ended up, I keep replaying this in my head. I checked in, I look at my camera guy, Jake, and I was like, dude, I said, just tell me how bad I lost. And he stopped, he paused for a second and like straight face looked at me and said, you got a 1.5 pound lead on Bass Track, you're leading. I said, dude, what? There's no way. I said, there's no way this is right. But man, it was crazy. I just keep, trying to replay the whole day in my head. And I'm just, especially when I look at this thing behind me, it's, such a dream come true, let alone another classic berth. When I won the bracket, that was the highest level experience I've ever been a part of. But this right here behind me, winning a major event it's a blessing for sure.
Talk a little bit about the baits you used this week. I mean, what were your top 3 or 4, or was it just one? What was your best bait?
So in practice, I was saying the weather was it was pretty rough, windy. I mean, perfect conditions for how the spots were set up, and big largemouth. That's the thing people didn't really see. There was big largemouth in those schools offshore that we was targeting. They didn't really show out, the tournament days. But, Monday and Tuesday, official practice days, I was throwing a Sexy Dog hard knock chrome, and they were killing it. And I was also throwing a caffeine shad, fluke style bait, blue gimmer, the color. And you just throw it out there and just reel it, you twitch it, and burn it as fast as you can. And that was really my, my 1-2 punch in practice. And I never threw a drop shot in practice because I've been to Hartwell a bunch. I know they eat a drop shot. And I was like, well, I'm going to have one tied on Derby Day, of course. And I roll out the first day of the tournament. I get to my first place. I don't see them where they were the day before. There was hundreds of them there. And I kept seeing a couple swim around on the bottom, and I saw like 3 or 4. I was like, screw it. I'm just going to throw my drop shot out there. I threw my drop shot out the first one. It was a 4-pounder. I said, well, there you go, dummy. I mean, you just figured it out right there. And that's how I ran with it the rest of the day. And, Strike King, we released a new, it's called the filler worm. It's a drop shot worm. And man, Morning Dawn is my favorite color. I won the college bracket on the Morning Dawn drop shot, and I just won this Bassmaster Open on Lake Hartwell on a drop shot. So I really love a drop shot, if nobody knew that. It's my confidence bait. I don't know. I've learned, Cody Myers taught me so much over the years about a drop shot, and I owe it all to him because it gets bites everywhere we go. And people don't realize this, but when there's 225 boats go to a lake, I do not care how big the lake is, the pressure gets to the fish, light line, smaller weights, smaller retrieves. There's anything to finesse those fish because they're seeing so many baits, and these fish are so smart, and the guys are fishing are so smart because all electronics, everybody has the best of the best. So, sometimes you got to finesse them.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what role electronics played in your fishing this week, but it sounds like at least on that first fish it did.
Yeah, well, my neck's hurting. I don't think I ever took my eyes off my units. The technology in today's world, a lot of people talk bad about it. A lot of people don't have it probably that talk bad about it. But I'm young. I grew up in a generation of the smart electronics with fishing, and
absolutely, absolutely. It's a ridiculous comment that there's something wrong with that. I mean,
yeah. And here's
I had
the
to
thing.
learn how to do technology to make podcasts, and I'm an old guy, so come on.
Yeah, I don't even know how to do half the stuff. But like I'm saying, I grew up in the generation of electronics,
right?
And for me, without them, I feel naked. Like if I'm not looking at my units, whether it's side scan, my 2D, whatever it is, I feel so behind. so out of whack. Like I have, you know what I mean? Like I just feel naked. I feel like I have no
Absolutely.
chance. And a lot of guys talk crap about it. Luis, I'm sorry, just won the college bracket with no graphs on his boat.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be done. And I commend him. I'm like, dude, you are an animal for doing that. There's not a lot of people that have the guts to even show up without the electronics. So that
Yeah.
was awesome to see that.
Mm-hmm. That was a neat story. That was a neat
Yes.
story.
Yeah. Out of an old boat, he don't care. He wasn't there. Everybody thinks you got to have $100,000 boat, $100,000 truck. You don't have to have none of that stuff. If you have the will, the guts, and the dignity to go out there and to lay it all out there on the line, that's what you got to have.
Now, you still wear the Bethel University logo on your tournament jersey. Are you still in school or are you done now?
No, I'm graduated, so I'm technically still representing all of the college guys, through the bracket winning. So after Rayburn, that's my last term as representing the college field. So it's been an amazing part of my life. Looking back, that's one of the hardest tournaments to even get into, and just to have an opportunity to fish. I mean, it's so hard to qualify for the bracket because there's so many steps that lead up to the bracket. And it's just been amazing to do that whole thing as
Well,
well.
listen, every time I even mention your name or your name comes up on our Instagram page, the likes from the Bethel University crowd just skyrockets. So I need to make sure I tag you in everything because you got a lot of fans out there.
Man, it's truly humbling. Like after this win, my phone has not stopped blowing up. I had like 293 text
Oh
messages
my gosh.
before I got the boat loaded up on the trailer.
Gee.
And I just literally I just let them all keep building up. I'm like, this is truly a blessing to have this many people support you in something that you love to do, something you have so much passion for, and to have that big of a group backing you, man, it gives me cold chills. It really does.
Yeah, I mean, feel free to make a big statement right now to all your friends and family. We'll clip it out of this and make it a comment to everybody. So feel free
For
to say
sure.
that if you want.
For sure. I mean, like I said, it's just truly amazing. There's so many people, not just my family, but so many close friends, so many people that call me each and every night. I'm up till 11 o'clock every night on the phone before tournaments with, my 5 or 6, 7 buddies every single night. We cannot go a day without talking to each other, just about fishing, whatever. And it's just crazy to see it all unfold like that and to see all the support. It's amazing.
Who do you consider to be your tight circle of angling friends?
Angling friends for sure.
I don't want to alienate anybody, but I mean, you talked about this group. I mean,
I got my group I travel with on the
okay.
Bassmaster Opens. Trevor McKinney, John Garrett, Joe McCloskey, and Carter McNeil. Those
Oh
are
yeah.
the four dudes. So
Yeah.
but my tight circle at home is John Causey, Bradley Puckett, of course my fiance. Well,
Well, there you
that's
go.
a whole different deal.
Absolutely.
But Brian Show, Stevie Mills, my old partner in college, he calls me every single day. He's actually fishing at Clemson, so he walks me through his practice. I walk him through mine. And you just sit there and talk, and
Yeah.
you can talk for hours on the phone with buddies that you have so much in common.
Absolutely.
I say something like, "Oh, I'm catching him on a drop shot here at Hartwell," and Steve's like, "Well, I'm 10 hours from you. I'm catching them on yada yada yada." And you can like, holy crap, maybe I can try this or try that just by talking to them.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just you learn so much from them.
Hey, what did you study at Bethel, by the way?
I graduated with a business management degree.
Excellent. And I'm sure that education was shaped and aimed towards the fishing industry, correct?
Correct.
God,
Hopefully I don't have to work in the industry. I just, my goal is I got one goal and one dream, and that's to
mhm.
fish for the rest of my life until I'm not able to stand up.
Well, I think that's such a neat thing, the idea that kids can go to college and, I mean, use the term lightly, but major in bass fishing, not so much being a tournament angler necessarily, but just catered and aimed towards that industry. It's a great industry.
Yes, it is. And like, the people you meet in college, whether it's on your team, it's on a different team, those are guys that are going to be there for the rest of your life. Those are guys that you're going to potentially be those might be your bosses later on in life when
Yep.
I'm a professional angler if I make it. And well, I went to school at yada yada yada, like Brad Abelman for Duckett.
Yeah,
That might be my boss. It's just crazy. It's such a tight circle.
that's who I was talking to you about was Brad. I work with Duckett on the West Coast, and there you go. What a good connection there. Well,
Yeah,
what are the chances of a incoming freshman walking on and making the Bethel Bass team? Is that a possibility? Or
absolutely.
okay, so it's not that it's competitive, but there's always room for more.
Oh yeah, Coach Gary Mason. He wants the best of the best, and there's always room to improve. That team is growing every year. There's a lot of good anglers there, a lot of young guys coming in, and like not just so much college, but you look at high school.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just it's mind boggling. Like when I was in high school, junior, senior year, there was like, maybe 100 boats in the national championship. Now there's like 500. I mean, it just keeps growing and growing and growing. They got the high school combine, that is amazing. They're just doing so much for the younger generation, and eventually this younger generation is going to be the future in, 20 years,
yeah,
maybe not even.
yeah. It's coming fast. It's coming fast. Hey, there's been a lot of discussion about the BASS decision to change the Elite Series qualification for next year. Anglers need to qualify via the Elite Qualification standings, which means fishing all 9 opens. That doesn't seem like it's going to be a problem for you because it's what you've done this year. What are your thoughts about that?
I really like the decision. The biggest thing for me that I think where they went perfectly right with their decision is to cut the off limits to a certain amount of days. Because there's guys that go, and
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not talking trash about that. I'm just saying, you look at it like this: you go practice for an event for a month in advance. It's okay to go look at the lake, ride around a couple months before, get familiar with the land, especially if you've never been there. But you go a month before, and for me, I cannot do this. You go a month before the tournament, and you spend so many days there, and you fish a tournament, and you do good. You end up qualifying for elites. But when you go to the elites, you get 3 days of practice.
right.
That's it. That's it. If you can't figure it out in 3 days, I mean, you're getting thrown to the wolves in that category. So I think I love the idea of fishing all 9. It's preparing you for the elites, and the whole reason everybody fishes the Bassmaster Opens is to qualify for the elites. So I think that's the best thing they could have done. They're cutting the off limit or the practice down to so many days. So I think it's going to be great. I really do.
Yeah, I've talked to several open guys now on this show, and everybody says the same thing you say. I don't know. I don't know where this notion that people are being cut out. If you're only going to fish 3 events, you're really not
Preparing yourself.
going to make that Elite Series. Even
Yeah.
if you make it, you're not going to make it.
Well, and that's the thing. Like you fish, 3 tournaments, you qualify. Well, say the 3 tournaments you fish are, within 2 hours of your house.
Right.
Those might be your local home ponds, but yeah, you should do good there. And you qualify and you take the invitation. But I mean, what happens when you got to travel 25 hours up to Lake Oahe or wherever, St. Lawrence River, and you've never seen the place, and you get 3 days practice?
Yeah.
If you're going to go there before, you got to think about traveling months there prior, practicing and, looking at the lake, getting a lay of the land, and then coming back to another one. It's just a lot of traveling, a lot of miles, a lot of stuff you got to give up at home with your family, your wives, your children, if you have children. It's just a lot. And so this is really, really preparing people for the next generation of the elites.
Yeah. So you're going to be fishing the Bassmaster Classic again in 2023. Have you thought about what? Just lost the light here.
I was about to say, you just went dark there.
Yeah. Anyway, that's okay. I can edit this stuff. All right. Well, anyway, hang on just a second.
Yeah, you're good. That's why we don't do this stuff live, Keith. For things.
Yeah. Well, the ability to edit all this stuff is what really is the key. So what I was going to say is, you qualified for the Bassmaster Classic in 2023. How will you approach that differently than you did in 2022, or will you approach it differently?
No, I definitely will approach it differently. When I got to my first one this year in 2022, I was focused more so on I wouldn't say focused. I was more entertained on what's going on around me, soaking everything in, right?
Yeah.
Whether that's the media stuff, all the film stuff, whatever, yada, yada, yada. So, going into my next Bassmaster Classic in 2023 in Knoxville, there's one objective, and that's, win. I'm gonna fish to win because it don't matter if you get second, third, fourth, 50th place. And everybody remembers Jason Christie from last year
Yeah.
because he's the winner. So I mean it's going to be a different mind approach. I'm going to go spend a lot of time there this winter, looking around. It's going to be a big pre-spawn type bite. It's going to be a lot of fun. I love that type of bite, so I'm looking super forward to it. And like I said, there's going to be a different mindset going into this one for sure.
Very cool. Very cool. I'm just kind of curious, what kind of sponsor talk has taken place in the last 24 hours? Have you been able to talk to any of your supporters?
Yeah, for sure. I've had all my sponsors reach out. Owner Hooks is fired up. I was throwing that cover shot 2-aught, and that's the only hook I've ever thrown on drop shot, unless I'm smallmouth fishing, not throwing mosquito owner. But first contact tungsten, I was throwing their tungsten, Strike King and Lose. They are so amazing. Everybody from Rather Outdoors has texted me, owners, workers, employees, team members, everybody. Strike King and Lou showed out this week. We had 4 Strike King pros in the top 10. Me, John Garrett, Lucas Murphy, and Brian.
Wow.
That's 4 guys. So, it's just amazing. The people that reach out, it just means so much, especially when they're sponsors, the people that are backing you, and you're representing them all across the country, and to have the support from them is truly amazing.
That's very cool. That's very cool. So now what's next for you? You got another event at, I know what I got to talk to you about, but first, you realize you have moved in to the lead of the Bass 2 Anglers podcast Angler of the Year race. Now, I don't know if you know all this or not, but we follow all the tours, and obviously the BPT and the Elite Series, those are the top tours, but those guys fish other places. And we always want to know, who the guy that's had the best year is. And so if you cross over and fish multiple series, then you have a chance to score more points. Now, you fished all the opens this year. You fished some Toyota Series events too, right?
Absolutely. So I actually qualified for the invitationals next year.
Oh God, that's awesome.
Yeah. So
that's all. Yeah. You fished a lot of it. How many tournaments have you fished this year?
18.
18. Wow. That's a big number. Well, anyway, I wish I had a big check to give you at the end of the year, but we do have a plaque, and hopefully you can hang on. There's only 2 events left. There's a West Coast event out here called the US Open that a lot of guys fish from back east. And then of course you got that event on Rayburn, but you got a 50-point lead right now, looking good.
That'd be cool. When you first tagged me in that several months back, I was like, what is this? And then I dug into it, and Brad actually called me. He's like, hey dude, Keith does this on this Instagram. I was like, dude, I'm gonna start looking into it. So it's really cool. And all the names in that group, man, they're a bunch of hammers.
They are warriors. Those guys fish a lot.
Yeah. Dakota Eberts, John Suckups, Laker, Howell. There's so many good guys in there. Nick LeBrun. Heck, he's won 2 pro circuits this year back to back.
Right.
There's a bunch of wolves in there. That's the truth for sure. No doubt.
Absolutely. So now I want to ask you, what's the rest of the year look like? Are you a hunter after season's over with, or what do you do?
So I have Rayburn. I leave as soon as I get done weighing in. I drive to Fort Worth, leave my boat and truck at the airport. I hop on a plane, fly to North Dakota, hunt for 10 days with my buddies, duck hunt and goose. I fly back to Fort Worth, drive straight from there to Guntersville for the Toyota Championship. That's my last event of the year. And then we are going duck hunting.
That's awesome.
So
that is very cool. Hey, another question. I was on your website, and I feel like I see 2 different boats represented. I saw a Camus mentioned, and I saw a Blazer mentioned. What are you fishing out of right now?
So I'm actually in a night. It's a that website's technically not done yet.
No,
Um,
okay.
technically, but no, I was with Blazer and I won the Nitro through the college bracket deal, and I had no choice but to run it
Oh, okay.
this year. Through Bass, it's part of
Mhm.
their whole gig, and the Toyota Tundra. That Toyota Tundra is an amazing truck. I've loved driving that thing. I put a lot of miles on it. It's never let me down. They say it's a reliable built truck, and it really is. And I've been hard on it. I've put it through the ringer, that's for sure. But it's an amazing truck. But what I'm doing next year, I'm about to release, so be on the lookout for that. It's not officially out there yet, but my new boat will be done actually this week, so hopefully it'll be coming out this week. I'm super excited about it. It's just another great opportunity, great people entering my life, and it's just amazing, man. It really
We
is.
can't get you to say the name of the company yet.
Not yet.
How about some initials?
Not yet.
What state are they in?
Oh gosh.
That's okay. I understand. I appreciate it. Hey, thanks so much for being with us tonight. I know you're up pretty late back there. And congratulations on a great win, and we'll be in touch. Okay.
I appreciate it, buddy. Hey, thanks for having me on. Thanks for all you guys listening. And we got 2 events left, so let's see what happens. Let's finish the year out strong.
Yeah, there you go. Take care.
Try to win that AOI for sure.
There you go. Take care.
You have a good night.
You too.
See.
Well, it has been quite a last 24 hours for Tristan McCormick. Safe to say that his life is changing pretty rapidly. What a great background, though. College education, in which bass fishing was a major part of it. A college education in which bass fishing shaped the major part of it. I just think this is such a great vehicle for young people today to have an opportunity, maybe not to be tournament pros all their life, but to at least have a pathway into this industry. It's tremendous. Very excited to see what happens with Tristan in the next few years. Well, folks, that's going to do it for us in this episode. Thanks again for coming by. Please remember to hit the subscribe button, like the video. Come on, like the video. Tell some friends, tell some enemies. Tell somebody you just want to annoy, but let the word get out. Thanks for being with us. Until next time, keep both hands on the wheel, keep those live vests zipped and clipped, and we will talk to you again very soon.